Hey, so if you don't know me yet, my name is Vicky, and today looks like a very, very good day to start talking to you about what NVC actually is, how it can improve your life, how it can significantly better your communication, not only with your children, even though this is the main subject matter here, but also with your partners, with your extended families, with your friends, co-workers, and actually with yourselves. But before we talk about NVC, let's talk about how we talk when we are not using NVC, which is all the time. So let's imagine a situation, not really imagine, I mean, it happens to all of us, so we can all relate to it. But let's imagine that I come back home from work and I didn't have a very good day and I didn't complete my tasks, and those that I did complete, my boss wasn't happy with. And I'm tired because I didn't really sleep well at night, and somebody told me something mean, which I took personally and was hurt. And well, I didn't have a great day. And I come home and I crash on the couch and I ask my partner to make me a cup of coffee. And then he makes me a cup of coffee, but he forgets the sugar, or he doesn't make it as strong, or he didn't put enough milk. I don't know, whatever it is. The coffee is not exactly how I wanted it. And of course, this coffee, which is not great, falls on this entire terrible experience I've been having all day long. And then I say something like, "Don't you know me? I totally expect that after all these years together, you would know how I drink my coffee. Like, what is this? You don't love me at all, do you?" Bam. Now, when I say all that, what do you think he feels? Is he like, "Sure, honey, let me go ahead and make you another cup of coffee"? Or more like, "Okay, I will just remember that next time I'm about to make you coffee and I just will make it"? And option 2 is the right answer, in case you were wondering. And this is how we communicate. Every time we experience something in a negative way, the automatic thing that we do is try and place the blame. And usually on somebody else, because nobody likes blaming himself, right? And that's how we communicate. We communicate all our wants and all our needs with blame, shame, and guilt. And when I say we, us, I really mean we, us. This is the only thing we know how to do. This is the only form of communication that we are taught and instilled from one generation to the other. Unless something changes, and this change is actually possible when we're using NVC. And to use NVC, the first thing that we need to do is be mindful. Be mindful of what we want, what we need, and be mindful of the way our words and actions will be perceived by the other side. So what will the other side actually hear when I say that? And before we go into that, let's talk about NVC. I'm assuming some of you are familiar with the model. NVC is a communication model. And as a model, it has a very, very precise and concise structure. So if you want to translate something, if you want to translate a complaint into NVC, you would first have to state your observation, your feelings about the observation, which needs of yours were not met by the observation, by what actually happened, and your request, which is what has or should or can be done to meet your needs in a certain situation. So it would, if we take the coffee incident, it would sound something like observation. "Honey, I had a really, really hard day at work." Feelings: I'm feeling disconnected and lonely and not appreciated, and I feel that no matter how hard I work, nobody sees me, and nobody sees everything I do, and I lack meaning and belonging. And well, probably other things, but I don't feel like inventing a whole story. So feelings. Request: would you please make me coffee? Needs: because if you make my coffee just the way I like it, then I would again feel loved and appreciated and seen and understood. So this would be the model, the classical NVC model. It would include, again, observation, feeling, need, and request. And it is a very, very long structure and almost unapplicable when it comes to communication. Definitely not applicable when it comes to communication with children, because children really, especially at the heat of the moment or during a conflict, they hear up to 5 words, usually 3, and if I really want to be sure, then I would use 1 word. So all this is just not possible. So how do I use NVC? I take this model, and instead of making it a model of using it as a model of communication, I use it as a model for a state of mind. And in order for me to do that, I need to pre-assume 3 things. First of all, that everything people say, everything people do, everything people think is a strategy to have their needs met. Which means that behind every word, behind every action, behind every tear, behind every tantrum, behind everything, there is usually, because we're discussing conflict, an unmet need. That is first of all. Now, if we're assuming needs and not behaviors, we must completely ditch the social structure of good and bad, because needs cannot be good or bad. They are what they are. And sometimes they result in more positive or more challenging behaviors. But if everything comes from a need, then it should be regarded as the need and not as a behavior. When we stop doing that, we stop judging. And when we stop judging, we stop communicating our needs using fear, guilt, and shame. And when we start doing that, we find that people can finally hear us and listen to us and really understand what it is that we want to bring into our communication with them. So for me, nonviolent communication is not a model of communication. It is a state of mind. It is a state of mind of nonviolence, of acceptance, of compassion, and of empathy. Because when the only thing we have in front of our eyes, in front of our hearts, are needs, there is nothing but love that we can feel towards those vividly and presently living needs in the hearts of those people who we love so much and who we want to help and nurture. Whew, yeah, I really feel that. And this state of mind, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. And again, it's not only a model of communication, because if we only use the model, but we don't feel what the right feelings behind it, it won't work. Definitely not with children, because kids are so much smarter and so much more attuned to their needs and feelings than we are. I'm sure we all know that. And if we want to communicate with kids in a way for them to actually hear and listen to us, we need to communicate with ourselves in the exact same manner. And that is nonviolent communication to me. That was my first teeny tiny lesson on it. Next time, I will be talking about needs and strategies and how we differentiate one from the other and how we can use our strategies to distill our needs. I hope you will be back to watch, and I hope this was enlightening. And if you have any questions, then please write below. As you see, I'm very active here, and I would be very, very happy to answer anything you want to know. And see you next time.